straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. On the show today, after all the criticism that the ICC and USA cricket received for the T20 World Cup, there is more pressure on the ICC to ensure Pakistan delivers a non-controversial, successful Champions Trophy next year. With India and Pakistan not engaging in any form of communication during the ICC meet in Sri Lanka over the last few days, the onus to pull this off rests with the governing body. What have ICC promised Pakistan and what do they need to get done for this show to get on the road? Over in Olympics, the anti-sex beds seem to have struck the internet, with every athlete making a beeline to quell their curiosity surrounding the now famous cardboard beds in every room at the Paris Games Village. And to end on a rather grim note, one of Britain's biggest sporting legends, Charlotte Dujardin, has been banned from the Paris Olympics after a video leaked of the athlete whipping a horse multiple times. More on that on the show, but first a look at the headlines on Sports 360. Starting from news on Olympics, New Zealand have filed a complaint with the International Olympics Committee against Canada. A drone flew over New Zealand women's football team during their training session. It was later found that the drone was being operated by Canadian staff. The Canadian Olympics Committee has issued an apology for the incident. Over in football, European football governing body UEFA has launched an investigation against Spain's Alvaro Morata and Rodri. UEFA is looking into the duo's behavior during the team's Euros victory celebrations. Spanish captain Morata and Rodri were spotted chanting "Gibraltar is Spanish" during the victory parade. Over in pre-season friendlies, Celtic beat Premier League champions Manchester City 4-3 in an exhibition match. Nicholas Kuhn scored a brace and Louis Palmer netted the finisher for Celtic. City will start their title defence once the Premier League season starts on August 16th. Over in chess, world number 2, Hikaru Nakamura, Anish Giri will join former world champions Magnus Carlsen, Vishwanathan Anand, among others, in the second season of Global Chess League. The league, which has a team format, features male and female players competing in groups. The tournament will take place in London in October. Over in women's cricket and the Asia Cup, India beat Nepal by a margin of 82 runs in the final match of the group stages. Shafali Verma's 81 of 47 deliveries helped India post 178. In reply, Nepal only managed to score 96. This was Shafali's 10th half-century, which is most by any woman player before turning 21. With the win, India finished top of the group and Group A, in fact, and qualify for the semi-finals. The International Cricket Council, or the ICC, are still licking their wounds from the T20 World Cup mishap. Some of the cricket was great, no doubt, but USA as a cricket host proved to be a failure. In fact, the ICC has had to bear financial losses because of this, so it's been a rather turbulent few weeks for them. And guess what? It feels like the waters will get choppier because the next destination is the ICC Champions Trophy, set to take place in Pakistan next year. Look, it's exciting. Again, like when we were all eagerly anticipating what USA would be like with cricket entering foreign shores, there is a certain buzz and excitement around ICC events finally heading back to Pakistan after decades. There's a certain air of tension and expectations are high, but there is also anxiety and nerves because, let's be honest, this is a huge risk for ICC to undertake. I understand the logic. Any success comes with brave decisions. At this point, though, it seems like daredevilry because India seems firm on not letting their men's cricket team travel to Pakistan. So what the ICC has on its hands is another hot potato. So what are ICC's primary concerns and objectives? Things they will have to ensure of when it comes to the execution of the Champions Trophy next year. The first most crucial aspect, of course, is handling the India-Pakistan relations. They will have to make sure the PCB and the BCCI come to some sort of an understanding regarding India's matches in the tournament. They need to figure out a compensatory model. that will keep both these key parties in this tournament happy and satisfied. And then most importantly, they need to ensure that Pakistan is well prepared as a host to successfully conduct the Champions Trophy. So let's break this down one by one. Let's look at the first objective. The key thing to note here is that during the recently concluded ICC meet in Sri Lanka, the matter concerning India's travel and logistics were not discussed. There was no such conversation between the PCB and the ICC either. And furthermore, Mohsin Naqvi, PCB chief, and BCCI Secretary Jay Shah did not meet. Of course, there was also news, and what we heard from coming out from the meeting was there was no point of having any discussion on the sidelines of the event because this isn't a bilateral series. So there have been no direct communication between the two acrimonious sides. So the onus to handle this, of course, this equation and make sure the two arrive at an understanding falls squarely on the ICC, of course. A massive task while ensuring everything falls into place for the Champions Trophy. The second objective, compensatory model. Here is the tricky part, the one aspect that has kept everyone involved on tenterhooks. India do not want to travel to Pakistan, and Pakistan needs India to be in Pakistan for all the matches that they have to play. They want ICC to convince India. In fact, one of the current Pakistan players, Hassan Ali, was indignant when he spoke to a Pakistan media house about this.
If the Champions Trophy is going to be held in Pakistan, then it will be in Pakistan. If India doesn't want to come, we will play without them. Cricket should be played in Pakistan, and if India doesn't want to participate, it doesn't mean cricket has ended. There are many other teams besides India.
That sounds ludicrous to anyone. The truth is, India hold the cards in this triangle between the ICC, BCCI, and PCB. So the governing body will have to somehow appease India as well as keep Pakistan happy. It's a tough task. The solution that India will agree to is a hybrid model, where all matches of the tournament, which India isn't taking part of, will be held in Pakistan, and India's matches alone will be outside Pakistan, like it happened during the Asia Cup last year. And the knockouts too, if India makes it so far, will also be outside Pakistan. That, of course, will not please Pakistan, the host, as of now. All of India's matches are slotted to take place in Lahore, with India playing Pakistan on the 1st of March. PCB will want the revenue of the entire tournament. So the latest we hear is ICC is willing to financially compensate Pakistan for this, give them the financial support they need, which brings me to objective number 3, ensuring Pakistan is prepared as a host. Now that primarily means the venues. After the backlash ICC and USA Cricket received over their ill-prepared venues, ICC is now more concerned Champions Trophy doesn't see a repeat of what happened at New York and Florida in particular. The 3 venues that Pakistan plan to host matches for the ICC Champions Trophy in are Lahore, Rawalpindi and Karachi. In fact, PCB came under a lot of flack when a match between New Zealand and Pakistan just some months ago got washed out in Rawalpindi. There was no roof, and poor infrastructure in the stadium meant fans were stranded in the rain, and of course all the seats made of cloth had gotten damp and soggy. Reports have come out saying the ICC has promised PCB $153 million to ensure the venues are renovated. A huge budget for doing so has been approved. ICC is trying its best to ensure there is no repeat of the T20 World Cup fiasco in any possible way. I'm pretty certain security would come up next, but that's for another day. For now, it seems like ICC is taking the onus to ensure the decision of theirs to give an ICC event to Pakistan next year do not backfire as well. After months of preparations, campaigns and promotions, fighting of bad publicity and a dip in Riverside for a few politicians, the Olympics is all set to kickstart in a few days. Time for all the prep behind the scenes to come to light. Not just for the athletes, but the organizers too. Now, there was a lot of buzz about the Paris Olympics as France vowed to make the tournament the greenest in Olympics history, which is why the recycled podiums and furniture at the Games Village. But the eco-friendliness is not what the athletes are raving about, though that's a commendable act. Yes, the athletes have all started arriving, and there's an electrifying atmosphere about the Games Village. But all athletes have made a beeline to check out the amenities, the facilities, and their rooms in particular. The village has a fitness center, a space where athletes can interact with each other, but that's not what anyone is interested in either. The fervor is around another zone of the Olympics village, the no-sex zone. In office buildings and hotels, you have no smoking zones. The Paris Olympics Games Village is a no-sex zone. No, it's not written out loud and in bold, and there is no way you can put up rules like that, obviously, but this is what is presumed going by the efforts taken towards the unsaid, unspelled initiative. And that zone is the complete Olympics village. Every single bed which will be used by the guests, the players, coaches, support staff, everyone traveling with the teams are the now famous anti-sex beds. So why are they called so? It's because of the material used in making the beds. They've been made from cardboards and are narrow enough to accommodate one person only.
Et on connaîtra la spécificité de ceci dans quelques instants avec le président de Enraged qui a une présentation.
Because this is very strong, okay? これは疲れた時は例えば腰をさらにすることによって例えば水泳の選手は肩幅が広いですから横にした時に肩が
Deuxième question, est-ce qu'il y a...
A bed made out of cardboard. The concept was first introduced at the Tokyo Olympics, a tournament where having intimate relations was banned. But the reasons, of course, were more owing to the fact that the world was coming to terms with the COVID pandemic. Seems like Paris authorities are very clear this practice be followed here as well. And that move has generated a lot of curiosity and buzz everywhere. The athletes who've used these beds in Paris say it's highly uncomfortable. They claim that the beds aren't even suitable for sleeping. It would be safe to assume that it isn't strong enough, at least not enough to, let's say, test it out too much, or is it? A few daredevils tried out the beds themselves, of course in their own unique styles, putting up videos across the internet, and they've all gone viral.
Maybe I wasn't rigorous enough too. And as you can see, they're pretty sturdy.
Well, the cardboard beds clearly have passed the test. If a person can perform squat jumps on the beds, they are clearly strong enough. Maybe the motive was to keep players focused then. After all, it is the biggest sporting spectacle, the Olympics. Even a little distraction could hurt their medal chances. That seems to be the motive behind these uncomfortable cardboard beds, seemingly. And it isn't new. We've seen this sort of thinking across other sporting disciplines as well. We've seen coaches and managers advocate zero intimacy during a tournament. There was a very famous episode that made front page headlines back then when cricket coach Gary Kirsten had taken over the India stint, when he insisted players not to indulge in intimate relations during important tournaments, a time when cricketers' wives and partners weren't allowed to travel with the players on foreign tours. And it isn't just Gary Kirsten. Over in football, Manchester City's celebrated manager Pep Guardiola has put forth very strict rules for his team. Guardiola has a rule that doesn't allow his players to indulge in any activity post-midnight. Lights out means a good night's sleep and much needed rest to recover. But there is another angle to it too. Despite the installation of these unique beds at the Games Village, the tradition to supply protection to athletes continues. Ever since the 1988 Olympics, athletes are given condoms. The number hit a peak of 450,000 in 2016 at Rio. No such reports emerged in Tokyo, obviously, but in Paris it has reported to be around 300,000. Yes, that's the number to have been supplied to the Games Village. So I guess once an athlete, always an athlete, the will to overcome all obstacles is what drives them on the field of play, and clearly off it too. But we're waiting for action to begin on the field, as it will a few days from now. Our story today is about an athlete who went from being a legend to a villain, an icon of the sport to a tainted star, a decorated medalist to a suspended Olympian. The reason? Cruelty towards animal. The sport, of course, equestrian, dressage. And the athlete, one of Britain's biggest stars, Charlotte Dujardin. She has been banned from the Paris Olympics over whipping a horse after an old video of Dujardin training a young rider emerged. The International Federation of Equestrian Sports has suspended the athlete for 6 months, banned her from the Paris Olympics. The young rider, who was being trained herself, filed a complaint against the star athlete. Everyone in the world is stunned. No one expected this from an icon like Dujardin.
Equestrian sports, one of the most delicate categories in the Olympics. A sport where the leash may be in the hands of an athlete, but the real power rests with the horse the athlete has to ride. The sport is basically centered around harmony and precision, especially in events like dressage, where the winner is judged on how the horse and rider combined perform a series of events. A sight that's very poetic and pleasing to the eye. Imagine a horse doing the tricks and specific movements with precision upon subtle guidance by the rider. The best combination is one where it feels the rider and the horse are in sync and as one. So it comes as a shock when a sport that personified beauty bears a brutal side to it. That's how shocking it was when a video showing 6-time Olympic medalist Charlotte Dujardin's whipping her horse emerged. The video was from 4 years ago, where she was giving a private lesson to a young 19-year-old rider. It's alleged that the British star hit the horse 24 times, though the video shows her beating her horse around 10 times. But I guess the count is immaterial. After being hesitant and reluctant for years, the young rider filed a complaint with the International Federation of Equestrian. And once the video was circulated online, Dujardin herself pulled out of the Paris Olympics.
A video has emerged from 4 years ago which shows me making an error of judgment during a coaching session. I am deeply ashamed and should have set a better example in that moment. I have made the decision to withdraw from all competition, including the Paris Olympics, while this process takes place.
The FAI later found Dujardin guilty, and the video evidence was enough for the federation to suspend her for 6 months.
We are deeply disappointed with this case, especially as we approach the Olympic Games in Paris 2024. It is our responsibility and crucial that we address any instances of abuse, as equine welfare cannot be compromised. We believe this action reaffirms the FEI's commitment to welfare as the guardians of our equine partners and the integrity of our sport.
This is not the first time the sport of equestrian has come under the scanner for animal abuse. 2 years before the 2012 London Olympics, training sessions for horses showed the neck of a horse being bent. Young riders have often been seen hitting and beating their horses under the pretext of discipline. And that's why PETA and other organizations have often called for the sport to be banned from the Olympics. In that video, when Dujardin was training the young rider, even the trainee felt something wrong about the act of beating the horse. But since Dujardin was such a decorated athlete, she felt maybe this is how things were done. The video, though, has enraged many online. Equestrian is a sport that has been passed down the ages. There were always stains raised on its place in the modern world. But just the beauty and breathtaking displays of an ancient discipline let this stay through the decades. But an act by one of the legends of the game has brought all these questions and cruelty to animals to the forefront. Certainly not what the sport wanted. The FAI may have been swift in taking a decision on this matter. But if Dujardin's video hadn't gone viral, would the sport and its custodians think of guidelines and securing the future of this sport?
Time for last serve. Just yesterday, we saw a 14-year-old skateboarder from Australia ready to make her Olympic debut. Clearly, there is no age to achieve that in, even if it takes as long as 30 years. Today, we bring you the story of Auntie Tanya, as she's fondly called, the oldest at 58 to make her Olympics debut, Chile's table tennis player Ji Youngjan. Absolutely inspirational stories coming out of Olympics, and we here at Firstpost will of course bring you a roundup of all of that constantly in our coverage Mission Paris. Stay tuned to that and more, but for now, bye-bye.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment. So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished. On the show today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies. What can you expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Green, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
Start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. The first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Aaron Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C.